Hi friends, welcome to SBL Mock Debrief December 2024. We're going to look at tasks 1A and 1B. Before getting into the examination interface, there are few general points for answering. Some of the points could be repetition, but that is important. So the first request is make yourself thorough with the navigation within the planning platform. This will significantly save time for you. Many students in SBL don't find time to complete. Okay. Open the word processor, copy the subtasks based on the planning sheet which we have discussed, and retain the key requirements as the heading for your answer. I'll show you all this how to do. Based on the format identified in the planning sheet, create formats like the header for reports, and in the case of emails, you have to do the starting and ending. Many students don't complete an email. They start the email but they don't complete. So all that. Then depending on the marks allotted for the answer, identify the number of points. You could add one additional point but not less. Suppose the 8 marks, you need to have 4 points. You could give 5 points rather than 3, right? Focus on professional skills and any key verb, if any, because we are noting down everything in our planning sheet, so we can always check it up. And the audience or the target to whom your particular task is going to relate to, okay, because that will give you the language. Suppose it's given to the board, it will be in a particular language. If it is going to be for a customer, it will be different. If it is going to be a colleague, it will be, could be slightly casual and all that. So all these three things decide what is the language of presentation. Then note the time required so that you can monitor your time and the duration, etc. And complete the answer and check whether the requirements given in the heading have been fulfilled. So it is key that you make your heading the key requirements and a concluding line which will justify whatever you have taken up has been done, right? So let's get into the parts 1A and 1B and look at the tasks. After having given the background, which establishes the context of the report, we go into the details. Suggestion would be to put down key points like this and then expand on each of the points. What are the likely financial benefits? Of course, income from players, income by hiring out the facilities, naming rights. Sometimes you save by hiring it out and you get a lot of benefits. Then what could be the drawbacks? Lack of benefit analysis. They don't have a system by which they're doing any benefit, cost benefit analysis or so. And how are you going to get the full benefits? There seems to be no planning in that regard. And this proposal is on the academy, but on the other side, you need to expand the capacity of the stadium in order to get more revenue. So you got the point. In financial, you're giving both the pluses and minus. There could be few more points in each of these, but I'm restricting it because we have seen that you need to answer this question for 16 marks. This task focuses on 16 marks and you need to do within 32 minutes, which means that you could give 3 or 4 financial benefits, 3 or 4 non-financial benefits, even then the drawbacks, and also the issues. Okay, so then we come to non-financial benefits, qualitative benefits. Many of them are qualitative. How you have a academy, you'll attract more players and you can attract them young. Then the achieving the mission of why this organization has been formed is also very clear for the local development, helping local people, etc. Long-term planning with the new stock of first-time players. You're going to get a lot of new players, right? So new players will be there. And due to other things that you're doing, your media, etc., you're also going to have a sporting culture created in the organization. You're going to involve all the stakeholders.
And then the player relationship is also expected to improve, because always with the academy, people will be in touch. Your ex trainees or ex students will also be in touch with you. Non-financial issues, location, because it's some 35 kilometers away, there could be a problem. And then supplying good players to other clubs, that also, you create good ones, you make money, all right, but qualitatively that's a problem. So non-financial issue. And then lack of prioritization right now. Are you going to do the academy, which is important? Academy can be a real long-term solution. Your stadium could be a short-term solution. You don't know, you need to see, right? Therefore, as a consultant, what are you going to say? The points to consider, you're going to give quite a few points, but just it's being highlighted here. If AT invests in academy, it may not have funds to expand the capacity of the stadium. Enhancing the stadium capacity to increase revenue is also important, right? So that's what you're going to bring. And what do you recommend? AT should consider whether academy can be developed with better economic efficiency. Yes, some money is being spent, but still, can it get faster? So you need to balance between long and short term. It entirely depends on how you justify this. Are you getting the point? Core points have been given. Our suggestion would be not to put too many bullet points. All these points, if you can expand in a line or two, I think you're getting a good answer, because it is satisfying the requirements of this particular task. Don't forget that the evaluation skills become important in this task 1A, that is the professional skill required. That is the reason why we are discussing both sides, both the advantages and disadvantages, and trying to give the organization a balanced view. Right. So let's look at the second part, which is B, 1B task. What is it required? The directors also wish to be briefed. Therefore, it's a briefing note. The role of project sponsor and project manager, in case they decide to go ahead with establishing the academy. And what is required? The briefing note should advise the directors on roles and responsibilities of project sponsor and project manager, assuming the building of the academy is undertaken. So the question is, the task is reasonably straightforward here. So what do? We plan it in our spreadsheet. So 1B, roles of project sponsor and project management for the academy project. The professional skill is commercial acumen. It is to be returned to the directors, and it's a briefing note. What is the exhibit? Basically, the exhibit is the exhibit 1, where the project is discussed. It may be worthwhile going through the others also in case there is any point, but more importantly, the project management concept is very important, right? Because what is the role of a project manager, what is the role of a project sponsor need to come out. And you have 12 marks for this, and you have a duration of 24 minutes. Now, so when you have 12 points, 12 marks, uh, uh, ideally, you should be able to give 3 or 4 points under each one of the designations. At the same time, link it to the project that is being undertaken. So, therefore, how we do it? For now, let's close the spreadsheet. You just look at your start timing. So, you are now clear about this task also. And I assume when we go through, you'd have understood. Now, I have. So, I just copied from above and changed. It is not board, it is to directors. And we have clearly mentioned briefing note. This is very important. 1B, briefing note to directors from consultant, roles of project sponsor and project manager for the academy project. I always recommend the students to give the context. This is very important because this will influence the way you write your answer. Why? I'm not giving here the detailed answers, but I am going to give you key points that are important, and those should be found in your answers, right? So what do we say? In case the new academy is established, then managing that project, many responsible persons would be required, and two among them are project sponsor and project manager, right? Let me correct some of the spelling mistakes. Okay. Managing the project, you require and project sponsor, right? So all of you now understand the what is academy, how the students are going to be trained. You need special, coaches. You know, whole lot of it. Right? And in order to establish, we always require a sponsor. Who's a project sponsor? It may be worthwhile that you define. It could be useful if you can define who the project sponsor is. Normally, a project sponsor is a person at the senior level, possibly at the board level, who will speak for this project, right? Who will be able to, so you could define in few words, who will monitor overall the progress of the project. In case the resources are required, they will check if it is to be made available or not. Any mid-course corrections before it goes to the board, the project sponsor will be available. This type of a generic understanding of a project sponsor vis-a-vis the role of the project manager. Who is a project manager? He's the guy who is doing the day-to-day operational task. So you could also define in one line just to express that you have understood the role, right? You understand. So, and then you give your points. I've given 5, 6 points here. What are they? Project oversight. This is exactly what I said. Oversight is looking from top as to what is happening, not getting involved in the day-to-day operations. Liaison with stakeholders, because ultimately that's a big risk. Who could be the stakeholders? Somebody, you are making an academy, you're constructing something. Is it going to affect somebody? Whether it is people or flora, fauna, whatever it be, all that various stakeholders, they must know. Liaison, and of course, guiding the project manager. They're literally in touch on a day-to-day basis. They could be in touch on a day-to-day basis. However, periodic updates are given, and the project manager takes guidance, and this person will also guide. Then role in project planning. Of course, there is a period within which, this, they are only stated as a project. We need to know what we call as before the zero time. What is the before the zero time? Maybe you'll have to make a business case for this. You're putting up, you've taken inputs from consultants, but the company has to make a business case before it becomes a project. All those information will be required, right? So all such things will be involved. So this is a preliminary project plan, as we normally call it as pre-investment feasibility. All those things are done, right? And then reporting to the board is also one of the uh, jobs of the project sponsor, because in case he has to pull some power for money or whatever it be, it will be very important for him to do that. And then, of course, sourcing of funds, because he is convinced about the project, he should be able to speak at the important meetings to honor financial commitments for the project. So you can write. Now, two aspects. One is commercial acumen, where what is your commercial acumen? Your commercial acumen is understanding that industry. Here, you are not going to do any big judgment, but then you will have to look at what is the data available from the case, plus you'll also make use of your own understanding of how this works. Maybe you should relate it to some football club or some cricket club, etc., academy, and then try to write an answer. That is exactly what is expected of you in SBL. Now, coming to project manager, it is reasonably plain. It is a supervisory role, operational role, day to day. So he has to liaise with so many people, internal and external stakeholders. He will have assistants, his management team. There'll be so many sub teams also. There could be 2 people in finance team, 2 in construction, 2 in something else. In this case, he may have to deal with academic people. They'll have to source the right type of people for the academy, right? So sports academy, there'll be a theoretical part to be taken, then the physical part to be also addressed. The students need to understand the concepts. The players need to understand the rules and regulations. If they have to upgrade themselves, so much of training has to be given. The whole lot of so many things these people need to plan, right? So in order that those things are ready during the project period, you will imagine the project manager needs to have imagination to check whether all these things in future is possible. Accordingly, the project plan has to be made. And during the project, there are certain CSFs and KPIs that needs to be managed, right? Building KPIs, we say, until the project is complete. After the project is complete, you have the regular operating KPIs. So the building KPIs he has to look at, he or she has to look at. Then, of course, the risk management. What is risk management? What is risk here? Anything that prevents you from implementing the project. So all that is risk. So every meeting he holds, he has to check, all that. And of course, reporting to the board, reporting to various stakeholders according to a pre-planned thing. Now, because it is it's just a briefing note, too much is not required, but you will have adequate points. So if you are going to start your examination with these type of framework and start filling up, you could save 1 or 2 minutes here and there, which you can invest in some other answer, which could be tough for you. Are you getting the point? When it was, the earlier part was evaluation, you did pros and cons, and then you gave a suggestion. But here it is only elucidation, which is a briefing note. So you're trying to, you could close the briefing note also with a summary or a concluding line. Okay, concluding line you can add. You could say that while these are all the major roles played by them, very detailed job descriptions and clear KPIs may have to be drawn in order to do the implementation properly. That's how you could end the answer for good marks.
I hope by now you would have got a reasonable idea of how to structure, present, and bring in the main points for your answers, particularly task 1A and B. All the best.